Hey, welcome everyone. I'm happy to be here today. Is anyone new, or have you any questions about the topic of non-duality? Just you can bring it up now, and then we can start riffing. If not, we'll just I'll just share how I see it, which is very simple. The word non means not, and duality means two. Yeah. So there's a way of seeing life that we see it in a dualistic manner, but there isn't a world of duality. And the world is just whatever it is. We give it the meaning it has, but the way we see it comes from where we are. Yeah. So this idea of duality is the dilemma where you hear that you are all there is, or you are exactly perfect, and it doesn't translate because there's a duality in there before. So if there wasn't, you could just tell the lion who was thinking it was a sheep, you're a lion, and it would have been done. Yeah. The lion would have saw itself and it would have realized it's a lion. And then on but the dilemma here is the present, here's Ali coming out this way. Yeah. Well, unless they were going to rob the house, I don't know, do anything. Come on in. So the dilemma here is you are, let's say, the lion in this example, but you're living as if you're a sheep. Yes. And so, in a sense, your inherent nature in time is not the seemingly first nature. The first nature in time is as being a thing. Yeah. A thing. So, an existent thing. So, this is the dilemma of, so everyone can say we are everything and everything like that, and it's true, but it doesn't translate because there's an activity going on, which is this dualistic activity that they discovered in time needed to be negated. Yeah. So they came up with something called non-duality. Yeah. A not to, so that the two wouldn't attempt to arrive at the one. It would just negate the two, and you would find that you are the one, so to speak. Yes? Yeah, because people are discussing or talking about the one, but it's being heard from a two. Yeah. And without seeing that, you're going to try to look for the one as a two. And the two is going to be too big to fit into the one. Yeah, just the way it goes. So people that were hearing a message realized somehow it was failing. Yeah. So they had this came in almost as if it was a solution to a problem that arose by the giving the or hearing the message. So the message is you're that, whatever it is, there's nothing going on here but you and you're everything. It wasn't getting through. So they came up with a counter of that, which is non-duality. And so instead of hearing a message and taking it as an affirmation and an order for you to become or to get to or arrive at, the message is now seen its real value is what it triggered to come up, which is what you're not. Yeah. So in spirituality, to me, the greatest value of spirituality is going to fail you. If you try to become spiritual, it's going to fail you because you already are spirit. This is the point, yes, from this topic. And so instead of starting from a manufactured point, you see the manufactured point from where you really start from, which isn't in time. Yeah. You seem to exist in time, but you start somewhere before time. So when this sort of occurred to me, or as me, or through me, however you want to put a term on it, it brought me to a point where it told me if you don't see this activity of the act of claiming every event of being a lion as a sheep, yeah, you're going to be looking from it. So even though your own nature will be looked at from the sheep program. Yeah. And then being introduced to your own nature through the sheep, the only thing the sheep can do is try to become that nature. Yeah. So because it's already taken itself to be a sheep, the head. So it hears about a lion, but it hears it as a sheep. And so now the lion, taking itself to be a sheep, tries to become a lion. This is the dilemma of spirituality, because you're trying to become what you already are, and trying to become what you already are is a denial of what you are. If you're trying to become what you already are, there must be an act of denying what you are. Literally. I mean, why would reality want to attain reality all the while being reality? Yeah. So this is the beautiful thing. With that premise, then all the activity to try to be reality you see is not you. But being ourselves reality, there's no way in hell we would be looking for reality, being ourselves reality. So the premise of non-duality, the basis where you really find rest in, is you are what you're looking for already. Yeah. Or as Ramana said, the greatest mystery is reality, wanting to attain reality, being ourselves reality. So being ourselves reality. Most of us is thinking we're being ourselves as a, guy, a woman, this and that, tons of things. But the message of non-duality is being ourselves reality. Before all the conditions and circumstances, before that, the state is being ourselves reality. And therefore, the greatest mystery is reality wanting to attain reality. Now, how it gets masqueraded here is you're trying to attain reality as Mitch. But the point is, you're not Mitch. Yeah. Because there's a taking of being Mitch, which is definitely not reality, you're driven to want to attain reality. And it seems to be a noble endeavor here, but it doesn't work because the big bump in the spiritual road is being ourselves reality. Yeah, it didn't say you were once and you can return to being it. It's an uninterrupted condition that spans, no matter how much time ever occurs, the overriding fact is being ourselves reality. Yeah, that's the fact of non-duality. That's the message. Being ourselves reality, you are what you're looking for. And therefore, the confusion is, and this is how they present the invitation, is by negation. They will say something like this: hey, we're at this little meeting and there's all these people here, and the person comes in who's going to be the conduit for the sharing of the message, and he looks around the room. He sees all these different people, but he doesn't direct the message. He directs the message to the Buddha. So he says, you can't, hey, Buddha, and it's really trying to get around the obstacle of Paul or Mary or Sue. Hey, Buddha, you can't use yourself to find yourself. Yeah. So he had a great statement, a great Zen master had, which is, you can't use the Buddha to seek the Buddha. Yeah. Why would he say that if you were Paul? If you were Paul, it would be freaking maybe to use Buddhism to seek the Buddha. But he's not recognizing that first assumption. He's questioning it. He's talking to the nature of you, which is Buddha. So he says, hey, you can't use the Buddha. Hey, Buddha,
Mike, don't sleep.
seek the Buddha. You can't use mind to seek mind. You can't use light to seek light. Yeah. So what basically we're seemingly doing, as Paul and Mitch, in a lot of occasions concerning spirituality, we're using Buddha, we're using mind, and we're using light to seek the Buddha and seek bigger mind and seek light. And this is the greatest mystery. Yeah, being ourselves the Buddha, we're attempting to attain Buddhahood. Being ourselves light, we're trying to find light. Being ourselves bigger mind, we're trying to become bigger mind. You see it? See, here in time, that little hiccup can't be changed by holding your breath later. Because the thing that's having the hiccup will be saying it's the one that's holding its breath, you see? So the hiccup is the one who has the hiccup. And that hiccup continues with you all the time. But if you see it before, before it starts, and then you see it, you see the idea of you is an idea of you. Yeah. You are the audience that's allowing that idea of you to be presented. And then a story of that you for 70 years or 90 years goes on. Yes. And basically, it was much ado about nothing, actually, because really, nothing, a lot of stuff happens, but nothing ever happens, literally. Yeah. So this is the beauty of the message, because every time I heard a message, I was the hearer of the message. Without knowing it, the hearer of the message is the problem. Yeah. It wasn't so I would switch messages and switch people who delivered the different messages, but the one who heard the messages was the same. Yes. And in all the equations of failure, that was the one constant. So non-duality doesn't even take a step into that. It just negates it. Instead of looking from it, you look at David. You don't look from David and you go, wait a minute. And then stuff gets revealed. And then you start laughing like crazy at times. And you're in a state of being ourselves reality. Because what you believe is you had to qualify or arrive or attain something that's already inherently available. So you cannot disqualify yourself. You can believe you're disqualified, but there's no disqualification. There's not 1 second we haven't been that which we've been looking for. Now, if you hear it and it saturates you, you're going to come to that very deeply held conclusion. There will be a being convinced before you spend any more time trying to convince that which can't be convinced. Yeah, there's this unsuspected inner resource, we call it in recovery, or another point in recovery they say to the innermost self. Yeah, so there's a self that's masquerading around. It's of the mental condition, and they would say, well, when you concede to the innermost self, which is not that, and what you concede to the innermost self is that you're not that. Yes. And this is when the relief from the bondage of self becomes available, because not being you, you will definitely lose interest in it. You will. And the death blow for that which you're not is irrelevance, literally. That's the thing. It wants to either be blocking you off from the sunlight of the spirit or guiding you to the sunlight of spirit. When you see doesn't have that much importance at all. It's like a killing. It's like you see the whatever thing, the raisin just becoming whatever, just squeezing out. Yeah. And you didn't understand. I could never imagine that, because the thing is, if you are what you're looking for, what's going to be an incredible movement is when you lose interest in the looking for it. Yeah. Because if you lose a sufficient enough interest in looking for it, it'll become obvious where you are right now. Instead of using where you are to look for something else or a bigger or a better place, you will realize the fact of this message. You will. Not through great interest, but through loss of interest. Because a lot of the interest is what's moving us. And when you're looking at something and it's moving and you're moving, the judgment can be way off. But if you're still, you'll see that which is moving, and you'll see that which is moving is not you. Yeah, not fundamentally you. And there you go. Yeah. This became the last answer. Mhm. This became the last answer. I heard it, it vibrated somewhere, like a bell went off and it never had to be clanged again. It was just reverberating. And I knew that this was like an unspoken yes. And then now over time, we've been entertaining this or sharing this for over 20 something years, I think. I realized, and over time, in time, it became the last answer, which is very valuable, because it takes away any need for any other answer about this topic. Yeah. And to dismiss some insane ideas about why would you
wake up.
get into the moment if you can't be out of a moment? Yeah. If you're reading a book of how to get into the moment, you're in a belief that you can be out of a moment. That's really the problem, is the belief you can be out of a moment because you can't. Yeah. So your interest, you don't vow never to read a book about getting into the moment. You lose complete interest in it because you realize you can't be out of the moment. Yes. You realize you cannot be arrived at. You never left. That's why our last book, by the way, was on having never left. Yeah. And I had this event, I share it. It was a trip. I was in Australia and I was doing this 8 day, it wasn't a retreat really. It's more like a therapeutic retreat put by the Rajneesh people, Osho, if you ever heard of them. Passed away, I think. Yeah, he did. Well, and there was a huge community in this town called Byron Bay, and they were having this big event, and it was really a big event in that community. But I just picked up someone who was involved, and then they gave me a brochure, and they were speaking French, which got my attention. And in the brochure was the first time I saw the statement, "What's looking is what you're looking for," seemingly attributed to St. Francis. And then I read the thing, and that got me because that sounded like my German Shepherd head just went, "What? What's looking is what you're looking for." So it wasn't like set your fucking gaze to the all incredible 11th dimensional, like the golden arch of McDonald's, but in a spiritual way. Head, gaily forward, marching into, no, it was like what's looking right now is what you're looking for. Well, I sure wasn't looking for what I thought was what's looking or who's looking. I was looking to get out of who's looking. I was not looking to get any more into who's looking. My whole life was trying to get out of who's looking. So it couldn't have been that. But the statement is beautiful because it doesn't use the word who, it's what's looking. What's looking is what you're looking for. Now, I didn't at the time didn't see the difference between the who and the what, which is a vast difference now. Yeah. The who is like the emblem and the what's like the car. Yeah. Yeah. You think you're driving a Ford, but no. So I went to this event and it was pretty cool. These people were very good at inducing cathartic events. They knew how to
Hello.
with a good yeah, that's what people would start screaming, "Mama, mama," like this. And we would have the talks with three groups, and some people were watching. And they had an interesting thing I'd never witnessed. They had all these people sitting around the periphery of the room that never said anything. And I got a sense of what they meant by holding the space. These people didn't really participate, but they were truly a large part of it. Yeah. And so and then you'd share like almost like an AA meeting, yeah. And then and then there would be like you would have an idea that you knew it wouldn't go well with some of the people in the group, but they told you to be truthful, so you'd bird it out, and then a whole thing would erupt and shit like that, and it just go on and on. And then in the afternoon, they clear the place up, get a DJ in there, put mattresses, and start playing music. And then people would just go off, start crying, and woo, woo, just crazy shit. And, and there was it seemed a lot of shit was getting, you know, projectile vomited or something in a way. Yeah. And then after that, we'd have more meetings and people would be much more, uh, everyone was chill, starting to feel love. And then at night they'd show a video of this guy, whatever, Rajneesh. So the sixth day, we've been doing it for a lot, and I'm in there and I start going off and I'm like crying my eyes out. And I come to this recognition that I have split from the Godhead and I can never get back. I mean, I did a huge boo-boo, like bad, more than a mortal sin. It was like triple mortal sin, and I don't remember it, but I know I can never get back. I'm destined to be in the outer lands, blindly looking, but with a great surety I could never get back from where I had left. And I was crying and everything. And the people who are running the show, who thought they had pretty good takes on spiritual situation, crowned me the winner of the whole event, and they brought me out. And I could never get it was really uh it was really soaked with a lot of misunderstanding and sense. And so a couple of days later, just sitting around, I realized, and I had all these reasons why I could never get back, but the one that really hit me was because I never left. Bingo. And I had been introduced to non-duality, and that had non-duality written all over it. It had all, and these people were not into the idea of non-duality. So I had about 4 women lined up, and they, as soon as they heard this, I never saw them again. And I was left in my own little island in this group. But it was so funny. All the time I was going through this, very dramatic, emotional thing. The underlying message is because I never left. Wow, incredible. Yeah. If you would have given me an answer in like a 80 thing multiple choice, I would never have done it without hearing non-duality. I would probably never would have picked that one. It would always have a lot to do with me. And the message has nothing to do with me. I never left. The sin that I think I've committed to separate me from this and that is complete bogus. Yeah. Nothing's happened. Incredible. Yeah. And so I entertain these ideas and they galvanize stuff. Yeah. And there's, sometimes you think maybe you do something and you stop for a period of time, but they're stopping even though there's going in time. Yeah. So I got stopped basically. Yeah. And it became the last answer. I haven't looked into anything else because I don't see any point. If you don't see this, you're looking from it. So if you don't see the sheep programming, you're going to be looking from the sheep programming, and you've always been and never not been a lion. Yet you'll be living as if you're a sheep, and it can go to such an absurd point, you'll try to become like a lion as a sheep. And the trying to become like a lion as the sheep is the major, major denial of your nature. So you trying to become spiritual is firm in faith in being a body, so to speak. When the recognition is you cannot become what you already are. And to me, the highest maintenance of spiritual condition is to recognize you are a spiritual condition, if you want to call it that, yes? And from there, Mary, a lost wilderness. You want to get her? She's running around the back. She went in the back, I think. Yeah. Shoot her. If you see the Buddha, shoot him. I just saw the Buddha. I shot her. I shot the Buddha. I took it literally. If you see the Buddha, shoot him. Yeah, I shot the Buddha. So there's the message, as simple as that. If I humbly, and I have not, I'm open to hear something new. I have not heard anything new in 20 years. I thought it brought me to the point where from that point on, the great successes are the failures. Yeah. All the time you have failed to become spiritual is because you already are spiritual. Yeah. You want to become spiritual on a mental stage for a couple of years and shit like that? Great. But in fact, you are already that. Yeah. And the way we look through a very intense conceptual lens. Yes. Yeah. It's almost as if there's saran wrap, like 6 layers of saran wrap, and they're so close we see through it, but we don't see the saran wrap. Yeah. We see through it and we believe that's our vision, but it isn't. You're seeing through saran wrap. And when you hear this message of non-duality, it has an ability to move that saran wrap out so that you can see it as saran wrap. Yeah, not see through it, but see it. Yeah. And this is what it's like, and how things move from you, and where you start being able to breathe and not suffocate is the minus of everything gets, the mind gets weakened, and then things take move. Yeah. And you see things now with some space, and you get a much better vision of misunderstandings and everything else instead of it patched right here. Yeah. Because saran wrap can be seen through or it can be seen. Yeah. Now, will the head keep looking through the saran wrap? Yes, but you've now seen it. Yeah. Not from the head. You've now seen it. And you may do something to move the saran wrap, you maybe not, because it doesn't matter as much anymore. Yeah, because what it was blocking wasn't you. Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful. You cannot be blocked here. Yeah. All right, come on in, folks. Yes. Just anyone walking around, the dogs, bring them in. Bring everyone in here. Yeah, we're gonna offer Tupperware. No, sorry. Come on in, Rosalind. Yeah, so you got the gist, yes? You have to, if you've ever been introduced to this message or non-duality, the godfather of it is Ramana Maharshi. And you would imagine if you felt you met a spiritual giant, that they would be able to dispel or actually explain mysteries of this life. Yeah. The great mysteries aren't beheld or understood by physicists or politicians, but these type of people. Yes. And here's the guy, Ramana Maharshi, saying the greatest mystery is being ourselves reality. It didn't say becoming ourselves reality. Being ourselves reality, the greatest mystery is reality wanting to attain reality. Now, I felt that captured me, and thank God I wasn't the me that got captured. Yeah. And now all of this understanding that used to be held or had by me captured me, the non-duality. It captured the me that I'm not, and it illuminated uh, its foreign nature. Yeah. It's so beautiful. Most things were all just like another accessory for Paul to get somewhere, whatever. This one uh, just pulled the curtain and you saw the emperor with no clothes. Yeah. And now you can't usually stay in a condition of seeing the emperor with no clothes, but you will now see the emperor has no clothes when it's wearing clothes. So the head is being represented by the emperor, and the head playing God is playing the little Wizard of Oz. Yes. So the head is playing God, and then you see that that God has no clothes. Yeah, it doesn't have any real power. Yeah, but then usually it will appear again, and maybe people will get fooled that this at some point in this message. You will not get fooled no matter how many clothes the emperor wears, because you will have a knowledge, a knowing that it has no clothes. Yeah, I had it in a weird way, but it has a similar impact, which is I saw my mother when I was young, naked in a compromising position when I was like 11. And I had like a vista of something I'd rather would not have seen. And it made an impression. So I kept seeing my mother while she was walking around for the next 11 months and with the image. Yeah, you get it. Yeah. This is swinging it around another way where this is sort of the same thing. Yeah. Because the peak experiences of when you see the emperor with no clothes are going to be worn away by time. And the emperor is going to be still presenting itself, and it's going to wear clothes, and it's probably going to fool you. Yeah. But this point is going to galvanize, and you will now know the emperor has no clothes, no matter how much clothes it's wearing. This is the kind of knowing that's not acquired by knowledge. Yes. It's already here. Non-duality isn't bringing anything new up. It's just talking about the old in a way. Yeah. So that instead of the saran wrap moving, you move back. Yeah. So now you see Paul looking through saran wrap, but you see Paul. You're not looking from Paul anymore. Yeah. So that which used to be your perch or where you looked at everything from has shifted. Yeah. And now you're looking at what you're seeing, what you used to look from. Exactly. Yeah. And the difference is something to find out. It's something to find out. You're looking from a point, you may not know it. The lion is pretty much forgotten because it's held as a sheep. Yes. And even when its nature is revealed, the sheep program will regroup and now start to become a lion. Yeah, it will go to it. It will get lion pictures, and they'll talk to other sheep that would rather not be a sheep and be a lion. And they'll open up a little place where they had pictures, and they start worshiping lions, all the while being lions. And they're trying to override their bars and learn how to roar and stuff. But see, all the desire to become like a lion is reinforcing they already are a sheep. You don't see it? It sticks out. This is the thumb that sticks out that non-duality's in understanding brings into light. You see the thumb sticking out constantly. You can't use yourself to find yourself. Then what the hell is using yourself to find yourself? It's not you. The head is constantly using you to find something. If that's the case, it's obviously not you. If you believe what Ramana said, being ourselves reality, it gives you a nice comparison to something that's constantly talking as if it isn't that reality, that it's something else. Yeah. And so this knowledge brings me a question. And when I notice it, because you're going to notice it, the mechanical action of this figure is going to go on. Yeah, it has very limited room to move and change. And there are certain parts of the program. One of them is self can't get out of self. It's never going to get it. Self is never going to get that it can't get out of self because it's seeing itself as Paul and it sees self as something else. So it's Paul's trying to get out of self, and it will go on and on and on. It will just change the vehicles. Yeah, but it's never going to get it. You can present tons of evidence, it doesn't get it. It'll just keep trying to get out of self. This is what you see instead of looking from it. You see it, and you realize the system has failed. Stop fucking bringing it back to life. Stop resuscitating it. Yes, move. You know, it's to know it's a dead horse and keep riding it is an insane misunderstanding. The deadness of the horse moves you to get up. Yeah. Yeah. So if you want freedom from the bondage of self, you're never going to have it as self. And this is the underlying dilemma. Self will work out on getting out of self forever. If you give it a 50-year plan, it will sign up to become something, but to be something, it does no interest in it. Yeah. Yeah. So here we are. Just get whacked every week. Let's go on. I mean, just whack. Allie, I'm going to give you a big one, a big whapper. Yeah. Allie was with us in a long time ago. Has the message changed? No. Hear a talk on 2010, it's the same as today. Because seriously, if you don't see this, you're looking from it. There's no other point. There's no point to continue on if this isn't noticed. Because if you, I've seen things with this stuff. I saw it. There is a difference between now and time. Yeah. Yeah. Now and then time. When time's in now, it changes it. Yeah. But now is not in time. Now is not in time. The head puts time into now. And then yesterday and tomorrow have this huge fucking thing going on. And you have your idea of witnessing before and after is bogus. And then you have to rely on an incredible translation and interpretation. You're going to be fucked or whatever. And the head plays God in its little fucking porno theater. Yeah. So I see no point in moving without seeing this, because everything that comes after it carries this infection. And all the medicine that comes after it has the infection in it. So when you try to apply its medicine, it's reinfecting you in a way with this idea of self. I ran into it with the ayahuasca community in Toronto. I gave a lot of talks up there. And there was this one day we were doing a talk, and then I went off. I said, man, I love to be going to Peru, and putting color on my face from the organic dyes and fucking tripping out and, have a serpent tattoo and write a book and a blog post. And then this guy came out of the audience with a serpent tattoo. It was a big ayahuasca guy, had a blog and wrote a book. I said, and then I said, well, when you do a ceremony, does the person who did this ceremony leave the ceremony? Yes. I said, well, that's where you're missing the ceremony. Yeah. So they would have all this incredible thing, but they would still have it when they came out. And it would be them that had watched them disappear and then reappear as the them that watched the them disappear. Yes. So it kept appearing again over and over again. And they were quite happy about hearing this message, because it was something that was missing in their community. People are having all these incredible things, but the idea of you was still stable. It's almost like we have it in recovery. It's got an immunity to any car wash. You go in thinking you're going to wash all this shit away, and this one stain just goes with you. This idea of you. Yeah. Yeah. And so here I find in time, and the now is not in time, but time is interpreting the now. There is a super fast process that I don't believe I can get before, which is consciousness brings contact, the head arises and claims the contact. So if there's a noticing of seeing, the head claims it and says there's a seer. Yeah. Hearing claims it, hearer. Feeling claims it, feeler. And there's a switcheroo where the feeler gets put in front of the feeling. Even though it was a product of claiming the feeling, it's now the one who has the feeling. Isn't it insane? So there's seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching. The head reacts and uses it to say there's a seer, hearer, feeler, taster, toucher. And not only that, it presupposes the seer before the seeing. Not knowing, and so here, innocently, you think your direction's this way, and it's actually taking you the exact opposite way. Yeah. With that as the basis, whatever you build on it is going to be off. And so this process does what? For some of us, as an action figure, irritability, restlessness, discontent gets triggered. Sometimes it's like acute, but a lot of times it's like a malaise, like they used to talk about in Buddhism, suffering, a malaise, something's not right. And it's just an atmosphere. And it's because I believe of this activity of the head. Yeah. Okay. So therefore you want to get out. You want some relief. And see, and the idea is I want to get relief from something, but you're going to try to get relief as that something. See, this is the dilemma. Most people don't ever see it. They're trying to get out of something that they're not actually in. Yeah. So this process does the claiming, and when you feel like a self, it feels like you've been a self. Yeah. The head has you already something. You're not in the act of becoming self. It says you already are one. So that limits a lot of possibility right there. Yeah. So so there's a movement. I'm uncomfortable, and you start doing processes, and maybe you learn and you start thinking it's me or whatever. And every process you apply to this is infected by the first process. So if you believe it's the antidote to self, it's infected with self. And there's very little understanding about it. And this is why non-duality is so beautiful, because it's more about warnings. It's not about direction to the spirit. You're already here. It's about warnings, about the mental activity that's going to cloud something that can never be clouded, actually. Yeah. So warnings are more important than the message that you're a lion is not the most important message. The most important message is here is you're not a sheep. The more important message here isn't, oh, you are your original nature. It's no, it's what you're not is the most important message. By negating what you're not, the obviousness of what you are will become obvious. Yes. So first process beats every other process, infects the other processes. So every time you're trying to get out of self, you're doing it as a self. And there's no way you're going to get out of self and self. As simple as that. People in recovery went that really far and they came to that conclusion. Self cannot get out of self. And vaguely you feel that, but really it's a complete capturing of what's going on in most of us. Most of us are being led and directed by this idea of self, and we're trying to get out of something that we call self. One self is called Paul, the other self maybe is objectified. Self has defeated me, all the while being defeated as Paul right now. So I'm going to win this war. I've seen it. I've seen it with tons of people. I've seen it with people who have been thoroughly changed by recovery, yet still have an umbilical cord of being the doer of past events. Not seeing at all uh, that which is doing for them what they couldn't do for themselves now in recovery. There was another thing doing through you what you were never done by yourself, and no one's giving it its accountability. And we give all great gratitude to the higher power, but no accountability to the lower power. We take all those raps. So if you go into a prison, really, uh, what you see there is the car that was used to go to the bank. The car did not rob the bank. The car had been driven. Yeah, it was the driver. We're driven. The head's driving. This is something to be driven, and the head is driving it. Yeah. So if we really were honest, we'd go to a parking lot, all like cars, and instead of talking about us as the driver, we would talk about what we're not as the driver that have driven all of us to the same three fucking parking spaces, institution, jails, and death. Yes. Instead, we walk around in this duality. Oh, maybe that you're the driven and the driver. It's like the dream of whatever, the self-driving car. That idea came from us. We're a self-driven car. We are. We are the self-driven car. When something had me, I acted in a certain way. That doesn't have me now. I don't act in that way. Was I the actor, or was I that which was being used to express the action? Come on, it's obvious not you. So you can't wait for freedom. You can't wait. You have to see it. It's inevitable. It's inherently there. It's inherently here, really, which will give you an immunity to all the mental theirs, literally. Yeah. Certain things you never fall for ever again, ever. The idea, I never spend a second looking for what I am, ever, never. It's just so the non-duality shut a lot of little businesses down. It's just really, it's just, I wanted to get out of here so much as what I'm not. Realizing what I'm not, I'm completely here now. Never, no one who ever knew me would ever completely in Nevada, completely saturated in it. I feel the socks like unbelievably. The socks my feet are in right now. Unbelievable. Yeah. Wow. So simple message, just it can be repeated over and over again. It's an invitation. The thing is, we're at the dinner, so you're smelling and everything, but you're facing away from the table. You're looking at the kitchen, waiting for it to come. It's already been put out. Non-duality doesn't even ask you. Non-duality will move the chair, and then you'll see there's a feast and the utensils and everything you need to do whatever you need to do. You're just looking the other way. Yeah. So, yep.
Paul, Jamie has his hand up, and so does David Lowe.
All right. I'll bring them in. Jamie.
Um, I I listened to Tuesday and Wednesday's talks, and I noticed you were talking about Alzheimer's. I worked for like 25 years in activities with Alzheimer's, people with Alzheimer's, and my one observation is that that I got along so well with them. I'm thinking because that programming was not there, or
Mm,
you know. And if they did have programming, it was way, way in the past. But
yes.
recently they have, no programming. So, so I was just thinking about that maybe that drew me to them. That is um, that's very positive to because people would say to me, how can you work with people with Alzheimer's? It's so depressing. And that's exactly not, I mean, that's not what I thought was what I got.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I love being around people with Alzheimer's. They have their behavior.
I'm not saying we're in sort of manufactured Alzheimer's.
There you go. There you go.
Building it. Yeah. Yes. I know some people who a personality of the person they knew for their whole life. He was a nasty character, and now he's a very happy dude. So it can be an upgrade. But the
Yeah,
funny thing is, obviously, it's not you, it's wearing out. Yeah.
exactly.
The loop programming, it probably only thought it had 80 years of tread, and the person's now 85, and there's big, there's big, the splicing the head can't do it well anymore. So there's gaps of emptiness, yeah, which are so revealing. It's it's weird to think, oh, apply it to them, but really have it apply to you.
Right.
Yeah, because they lose interest in the story. Yeah, and that bothers you because there's a lot of investment in the story,
Well,
but it doesn't seem to bother them.
yeah, and the fact that I worked with them for so many years, I understand it. But I have a sister. My mom has dementia, and my sister's having a heck of a time with it
Yeah. Well, you can
because
see that, like, just remember family dynamics. The last people that wanted to see you differently were your family in a way.
right,
They had the game board was all set in place. You were the fuck up, and then they had to get off of that. And then so when something was changing in you, it was they want every time you'd see them, they want to zoom you right back. Yes, it was weird.
yeah,
I remember when I was taking trains back to Long Island where I grew up. I took the Long Island Railroad from Manhattan, and every stop I could feel something coming over me. And then as soon as I saw my sister and my mother, they had a very galvanized idea of their son and brother. And it was really, I mean, I could have gotten maybe a looser fitting straitjacket, but it was going to be the same. But yeah, because everyone gets triangulated, yeah,
Mm.
with relationship. Because the system constantly, because it's got no real bearings, it has to just triangulate. And so other people's, let's say, being fucked is important for your sense of being, let's say, better. And there's like a lot of gravity that doesn't want to move that. Yeah, the head's insane.
Yeah, you get stuck in your role. The way they saw you when you were a little kid is the way they see you now.
Yes, but it's not them. It's feeding
Yeah, yeah.
see, the mental status quo is trying to hide the chaotic agitation of the head. Yeah, it wants to think it knows everything because it doesn't want a recognition of its nature, which is, first of all, it's foreign in a lot of ways, but it's also agitated. So its idea of signing up for peace, it hits peace, it starts worrying about, will there be any tomorrow? Yeah. It's everything it meets with agitation. Yeah, obviously. Yeah. So you can see it. It's so much everybody that people, they want to, it's just people, just like I love AA, but there's people in it. Unfortunately, non-duality is beautiful, but there's people in it. There's a duality, he tries to figure it out, and then it becomes a path, a dualistic path to arrive at a singularity as a dualistic idea. It's fucking crazy, So, but it's very, very, there's great value because the successes I feel with this understanding are failures. Yeah, all your attempts to understand that which cannot be understood will fail you. And that will be a hallelujah when you get okay with the failure of it. Because a lot of people really want to get it as a person, and it's not going to happen. You'd have to make it something that fits the person, and that's not the message. Yeah. Yeah. So what I feel is it brings shit out that most things that we get into because they've been given the direction of us. It doesn't bring out like the misconceptions like non-duality does. I feel non-duality was the greatest invitation I've run into here because it doesn't give you really an understanding. It just questions it brings up the understandings that your life seems to be based on, and you see yeah, you see the bogusness of the forest through the trees. You recognize something. Yeah. And you have all the knowing already. People in recovery, when they start getting sober and getting out of these things, they knew it all. They
Mhm.
they knew the insanity of it. They were giving it names, demonic possession or something like that. They knew it wasn't them. But the programming is so rooted in being the doer of whatever happened, they're still bound by it. Yeah, because they're feeling the guilt and remorse of being the doer of the shit that was done while they were under the influence. And there's a vast, vast ocean of relief available if you can just start looking at that and recognizing, like the first time ran into an amend in recovery, where you run into someone who you screwed over. Usually you'd want it to be planned, but it was a surprise. And you would think the lady pulled my pants down, so to speak. I was trying to impress this girl, and she comes in and says, "Do you remember me, Paul?" And I go, "No, you owe me $500." And then I got caught with my pants down. You would feel I would have felt guilt or shame, but I didn't, because I had gotten the idea that it was a disease in AA, and I was only in there 6 months. And I said to her, I said, what I did to you, I would have done to anybody unless you could physically stop me. There was no remorse or guilt there. It was just mechanical. You put shit in this, I'm going to do that. Yeah. And I paid her the money, not right away, but I paid her the money. And I didn't have guilt or shame about it because I was not the doer of what was done to her. Oh, it's fantastic. I'm accountable, but you're not laying that responsible tag on me anymore. No fucking way. Yeah. It's brought about a lot of relief because there's no way I could forgive myself. In that mental court, I'd been convicted and I had been just living out sentences, and the years were just added all the time. And there was no way I'm going to win in that court. But I felt like all my cases were brought into the court of light and they got null and voided. It was awesome, really, literally. Because I did things that there was no way you could convince me that I should be forgiven. There's no way. I mean, there's some great lawyers up there. They are. No way I'm gonna be, Hedderman. It's gonna have me. So this was the only way I found relief, was recognizing I wasn't that which had defeated me. Fantastic, because then the possibility that was ripe and just waiting there, but I couldn't see it, and I finally saw it, was if I'm not that, I can be free from it. And there it was. There it was. There was the rub the head did not want to have you brought to, that you can be free from it. It doesn't mind being free as it, or making it work better, or just spend all day trying to go to therapy and it loves all that shit. But to see that you can be free from it was incredible. And then I've been following that course now for 30 years, because I'm 37 years sober. I think it broke when my third year of sobriety. So yeah, and here we are. It wasn't a great career choice. No, a lot of people don't want to get to the exact nature of the wrong because they think it's them. And who wants to see more of that? You have to have the sense that it's other than you to really be fearless about it, because you're not going to be fearless when concerning you. You've got a lot of blind spots. The head's hiding a lot of shit. Yeah. But if you're not that, the light can come in, not directed by the head, but the light on the head. Yeah. Yeah. So, yep. Yeah, that's awesome. I don't know, society, I guess, are gonna have to do something, because there's gonna be a lot of people with dementia, and because if you really looked hard, the warranty was only for like 65 years. The, the programming wasn't meant to last, I guess. And it's just you can't, there's not an app on the thing to get a new download. You're just stuck with, you know what I mean? Whoops, we didn't plan well. We didn't think anyone would go past 75. Oh. All right, thank you. You have to, this head is not of you. It only exists in this imaginary bubble. You're going to forget it tonight when you fall asleep. It's completely forgettable. Yeah. What day that has passed did you ever catch? Every day, in a sense, you got all the, houses, everything, but you're just naked as you were the day you were born. Literally. Yeah. Things can come and go, come and go, come and go. You got your little run. Luckily, it has a built-in break every day for most of us. 1/3 of your day, you're asleep. Thank God. Can you imagine the world, what it would look like with 24 hours of us every day? Fuck no. So there's a nice break. And there's a thing they call that, the old idea of deep sleep, where that is really what's always going on, and it only seems to be noticed in deep sleep. But that is, I feel, the reality. Yeah. Yeah. So, anyone else there?
David Lowe.
Oh, David Lowe. And then we have cafes going to open up after this. So, yeah.
Hey,
Right.
so Paul, you were saying earlier that you can either, after you get it, I guess, you can either take the saran wrap off or not anymore.
No, I said, you don't take the saran wrap off. It may fall off, but you don't do anything. You just see it. You become aware of it. And the awareness is going to trigger what it wants to trigger. Yeah. Sometimes maybe you'll need to do something, sometimes you won't. But I don't believe there's a rote answer to it. But there is a seeing of something that wasn't being seen before. Definitely that, yes. Yeah.
So you could choose to purify yourself more or not after sort of arriving there, kind of.
Well, I would say that's another layer of saran wrap. So there was one objectifiable saran wrap, and now that's a subjective saran wrap. Yeah. The idea that you're going to purify whatever.
Right.
Yeah. That's my feeling. I think, see, a lot of times, right after you recognize the saran wrap, another saran wrap goes around that. Yeah. Yeah. You need to catch it a few times. And then I don't think it can keep doing it that long, but it can definitely do it twice. That's why it's non-duality. It can do it twice. So you see the saran wrap, and then suddenly that's a saran wrap gets formed, and now you have the objective saran wrap looking, and you're looking at it through the subjective saran wrap. But if you say no to that, I think all it takes is a few no's. Yeah, I'm not that. Because this is not 40, it's not like not 58. There's not like a lucky lottery number. 2025, it's going to be not 43. No, it's not 2. Not 2. So you aren't, all right, you see the saran wrap. So I wasn't the saran wrap. Yes. And then you see you're not that either, because that's already been saran wrap very quickly. I think 2 is a good enough whack. Seriously. And then come the satsangs. It's not bad, because it will remind you, keep it simple, 2. Yeah, just catch it once, and then it's going to do the same thing. You're going to be looking through the saran wrap again, and you catch that, and I feel that's enough. Seriously. Or it would have been not, it would be like a lottery. Ali would come here, we'd roll the thing, she'd get not 57. Okay, so what? Oh, no, it's a blanket, not 2. Pretty nice, eh? And it's an activity. Not 2 isn't just some fundamental thing. It's an activity. It's a living negation. You're in a state of negating it, not with effort. You're just negating it, because the understanding that came in have moved the blocks or something enough that a new basis is there, and that's what's being relied on. And so now, yeah, you see it, and that's that. And then if you moved or something or not moved, in my case, I haven't been moved much at all. Yeah. So, because I had felt once I try to, like take off the saran wrap, that's another saran wrap. So I liked it. I felt the futility of doing anything. I remember I was at a satsang in India, and I knew I was never going to ask anything ever again, because I saw the futility of that which was trying to get an answer. Yeah, that isn't me. So I just let it hang out to dry, really. And it will dry. If you put it back on, yeah, you need to let it hang out to dry. Yeah. Yeah. Don't, oh, I know, and then put it back on. No, just hang out to dry. They'll be seeing anew. You'll see things in a different way. And they won't cause, the first year or so, people get affected because they've realized they've lost interest in a lot of shit that they were, the head was reaping an identity out of. Yeah. And it's a little bit scary because they figured they were their interests, and now their interests have changed. And well, who am I now? Yeah. And it can get a little, but it's very cool. Just stay with that. Yeah. And then it's like the things get rearranged, and I bet you You'll travel lighter. Yeah. People used to call me, they would thought they wanted to get some big event, and then they got scared shit. And then I would just say, just don't act out and die, and everything's gonna get good. Acting out for me would be getting loaded. You may be, reading another book, whatever. If you don't act out and don't die, it's gonna go pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah.
Paul, there are 3 more hands up, just so
Three
you know.
more hands.
I
All right.
know. Maggie first.
Hey, hey guys.
Maggie,
Yeah, I got to spend that whole month at our desert cabin in the wilderness. That was like a God shot gift. And it came back to the drunk roommate who's been evicted. That'll be interesting. But that month in the desert, you really helped. I attended at least twice a week. So last Tuesday, I was at a state of grace that I was really out of self. And then Tuesday evening, there was a shamanic group gathering that I'd never been to. And they asked questions which led me, they were just beautiful questions like, what is the teaching? Let's see, how does it say? In the context of my soul's journey, what is the teaching that my challenges offer? And I, of course, went for challenge, like I'm the warrior. And then I thought, what are the teachings here? And I actually ran up to the hot tub and just floated for a bit. And in the Catholic Church, I was taught you have a body, mind, and soul, which splits it into 3, right? And I started getting, I am my soul. And like I can't remember except for maybe on mushrooms in the distant past, really feeling I am my soul, you know? And then I just wrote down, I didn't know what else to write when I got out, dried off my hands, ready to go in a small group. And I just wrote, be my soul. I am my soul. Be my soul. I am my soul. And it was just so amazing. And then the small group was, guess what? Instead of 3 other students of shamanism, it was 2 shamans and me. Like 2 active elders and me. And they asked me to share.
into the bar.
It was like, oh my God, how about another gift? And so they said, Maggie, go first, because they knew each other. They're like global, universal friends. And so yes, and I said, have you heard of Paul Hedderman? And they shook their heads. So I sent them your link. Excuse me. But I said, I've been doing this work and I've been getting there, but I never thought I'd get to this point. And they had some small questions and problems, and they both said, ours don't matter at all. You just solved any questions or problems that we wrote down. Our challenges or teachings were just answered by you. And I'm like, whoa. So I came out, I drove home to Solvang yesterday through Friday traffic, and I this is profound for me, and I am my soul. So thank you.
Thank you, Maggie. Keep us,
Yeah.
I like these desert stories. Yes, that's good. Ran into
I'm the
it.
shaman. Yeah,
Yeah.
and my soul.
All right, thank you. Anyone, who's the next one? What's the next? Oh, here's Ole's iPad. Hiram. Hiram. I've got news for you when you get back here. All right. I see a huge thumbnail there.
You gotta tell me.
Just a lot of love, brother.
Lots of love, Paul. Yeah, yeah. I'm coming back soon. 10
All
days.
right. All
Yeah.
right. Good.
All right.
We moved and we're not disclosing our new address. So.
Oh, I find you.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to questions. We got
Okay. Yeah, none here. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Yes.
Hey,
All
Paul, it's Nick. I'm a longtime
Nick.
listener, longtime seeker, and my acting out, like you just mentioned, is has always been through substance abuse. So I'll be on your recovery calls here
Yeah.
soon. And there's been several times where I've had the understanding, I've rested in awareness, and slowly but surely that kind of sheep comes back in and, thinking I'm gonna have it under control now. And it always ramps up back into just, shifting back into that and like completely losing that sense. Is it real? And you mentioned just a minute ago, as simple as you're going to put that in, you're going to get that out. And is it really just because I spend so much time with the guilt and the remorse of like the way I acted or the way, I end up behaving at the end of the day. Now it's just not putting it in. It's just, to me, it feels like it just cut out.
Don't, yeah, don't use. Yeah. None of this would need to be dealt with if you don't use, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, so just get it down with somehow, forget about your ideas that it's always gonna happen, because it's not. And just shrink it down and just don't use. And then you won't have to have these master philosophical moves to do it after you use.
Well,
Yeah.
and I think what happens is like I go back kind of into that like seeking without it, and then I think I'm finding something, I'm understanding, it's all in the head, and then that goes like, well, maybe this will help, like maybe this will help me understand better, and then it becomes an outward thing I'm bringing in to try to understand better, and then it goes off the rails into just typical addiction. So
Yeah, but what you need to understand is that
yeah.
you're a typical example of addiction. That's the understanding you need. The other understandings will come later. If you rush for those understandings now, they're not going to be of any use. Like self-knowledge avails you nothing, because there's the elephant in the room in time has to be dealt with first. Yes. So rushing for other understandings while not understanding that you're fucked, that's where I would start. As an action figure, I'm fucked. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And see, I was in argument and denial of two facts in my life, which was I can't use. Yeah, if I do, all bets are off, and I'm not managerial quality.
Yep.
And life was very, very rough until I was finally aligned with those two facts. My living as if they weren't facts didn't change anything. It made it way worse. These were facts. And in this life, as an action figure, you need to recognize certain facts. And especially if it has concerning addiction, because when addiction grows to a certain point, yeah, it's going to take all the oxygen in the room up. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean
Nothing else is going to live in that room,
yeah,
other than you and it. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's a very selfish
Yes. So
and to the point where it just takes over. It just wants to take over.
well, this is a good understanding that it has this thing and it wants to take over, and we get caught in a condition of powerlessness where it overpowers the system. So that basis needs to be grown. See, I needed a way of life. See what happened with me, 85, and when I would manage life, it would lead to me having to be managed by other people. Yeah, usually the court system or a program. So in 1985, I was on only one square on the game board, and I had to enter this program called Delancey Street. So and I spent 2 years there. 2 years, I thrived in that institutional setting because they never wavered. They saw me as an addict every day, while I was taking offense of what they were telling me as Paul. Yeah. But they knew exactly what I was, and they treated me just that way, and it was the best way to be treated. Yeah. So left there, 10 months, went out, and then I got whacked. I got struck sober on a regular day at the office. Just was coming out of a blackout, had no idea where I'd been. The person who was in the room hadn't missed me. I had been appearing there. I must have been having a conversation, but I had no memory of it. And I was living in San Francisco. I looked out the window and there was hang gliding things. And I know there's not a hang gliding airport in San Francisco. So I knew I was somewhere else. And then suddenly this guy, big head, bulbous nose, varicose veins, I was sitting in front of, he was here, I was there, and there was a Royal Gate vodka bottle there, and I picked up what was going on, had a drink, and I looked at this guy and I said, this guy's a bum. And lo and behold, he was looking at me like I was a bum. And something like, rent the veil, something put a stop to that constant addictive movement and cleared the whole screen blank. And it was important, the blankness. It took everything out and was blank. And then the first thing was like a headline, no story. And the headline was, I'm fucked. And it was true. And I'd been fucked for a while, but I was in a large amount of denial and trying to, dance and spin my way out of it. And I was just fucked. And then the next statement, only a smaller, like, smaller letters, which is, and I'm not managerial quality. These two facts were the most pertinent facts in this life at that point, and they were fucking aligned. Yeah, got whacked. And the next thing, what I did set off trains of circumstances that brought me to my first AA meeting that night. I wasn't looking to go, nothing went there. And I truly believe if I hadn't been introduced to this way of life, that miracle would have died on the vine. But it had two pieces. First, it was the download, of getting whacked, struck sober, and then a way of life to extend that miracle for 37 years now. Beautiful. One without the other probably wasn't going to work, but one got the attention, and then that night I went to my first AA meeting and been involved ever since.
So
Yeah.
the reason I joined this call today is because, and had that question, is because I was listening to that recording on YouTube of your 12 steps, the 2-hour one.
Yeah.
And I heard that story, and it was March 20th, and that was I have almost the same story, March 20th, 2 days ago.
Yes.
So I felt like
Yes.
that was quite the
March
invitation.
21st. Yeah. Yeah. Well, without a way of life, it's not going to work here as an action figure. And that's the obviousness of what you just shared. So basically, first things first, you got to tell the truth about the elephant, admit you're outmatched, and do the simple things we do to stay sober a day at a time. So momentum builds, and then you get that impediment or roadblock will be removed, and be on the road of happy destiny, as they say. Yeah, bro. And we're here for you. And that's the whole point. Sometimes that people go to such a length in this act of being identified, they believe they hate themselves. You do not hate yourself. Something in you may hate you, but it's not you. Yeah. And it's so weird in non-duality, but what you may need is a little self-esteem. Yeah. And how we got that is to do esteemable acts. So get a commitment, participate in putting the chairs away, and you'll just start feeling better about yourself instead of feeling worse about yourself. And then when you feel better about yourself, permission is given for other things to occur, because you're locked down by that which is playing God. Something has you in quarantine, and you can convince it to let a little light in. And I think the way of AA does that. And then you'll feel a little better about yourself, and then you'll open up to possibilities. You are the toll booth at the gateless gate. You play the toll booth. You play the gatekeeper at the gateless gate. The gateless gate is gateless, but you play the role of the gatekeeper. Yeah. So the head withholds a lot of us. And then there's a hierarchy of permission, and usually you have to do a lot, and then it's just man, it plays you like an accordion. Yeah, and that's one of the many forms of playing God. And you just need a different idea of that power to come in. And AA offers you that introduction. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I don't know, he's been coming in and out for a while, I think. Yeah. All right. Anyone else?
Arturs has his hand up.
Truly, Nick, we are available for you. Yes, so for sure.
Yeah, I'll be back. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yep.
Hello, Paul.
Hello.
Can I share my awakening experience and ask you for feedback?
Who is this?
Arthur's.
Oh, Artur. Yes, sure, Artur, if it's a short one. Yeah, because we got a lot of people here. We gotta, yes.
So when I was about 6 years old, I had an out-of-body experience. I saw like my true position or something, and I saw that words create this reality. So my question would be, how do I speak? Because I tend to overthink stuff, like like how they say, don't say I'm stupid because for some reasons. But what I also noticed is that I'm sort of like you said, I'm a reality, and this I am feeling was always accompanied. Like whatever changes happened, the I am was with me, or I was the I am. So, and then at age like 13 or something, I started to identify with the self or with the ego. So I become like other people, I think. I'm not sure about this. And then at 19, I had another awakening. And since then, I've been paying attention, like following Nisargadatta's advice, and same as I did in childhood, paying attention to the I am feeling. Because in childhood, I would have more of these out of body experiences. That's something. And then since childhood, I had a belief that if I will speak about this to people, because there's very few people who I've told this. I will, because I've been told, but I paid some guru and he said don't speak about this with people, but this is like a non-duality place, so I guess it's okay. But if I would speak about it in childhood, I thought I would kill my dad. And so one day, drunkenly, I said something like that we're all one person, like dreaming or something. And then next month, my father died, or 2 months later. And so that's it. I tried to make it short.
Well, we're happy to have you here, Artur. And again, let's say you've been given a gift of free samples, and the way you can, in a sense, protect that is through the warnings, really. Yeah, just to know what the head does, no matter what's going on, as more of a mechanical movement. So the head is going to be claiming that it is Artur's who had these out of body moments and stuff like that, and it's going to have a ride along story with the other story you were telling. Yes, with a weird mutated idea of you in it. So just come here if you have the time, listen, and you'll get some of the stuff that you may think is you, you'll start seeing as not you, and just let the dominoes fall and see where it takes you. Yeah, it's a safe space. A lot happens in satsang without you doing anything. Just sit under this little shower and let's see what happens. Yeah. Yeah.
I've been listening a lot to your previous recordings. Even when I'm walking the street, I listen to all of your AA meetings and non-duality.
Yeah. Well, if you get something out of it there, that's what it's there for. Yeah. Something will put it to use, and then you'll start feeling like you're more guided than being the guider, and see what happens. Yeah. It's another way of walking through life. Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Okay, thank you.
And thank you for sharing. And yeah, the head has weird ideas. I know. I had the same thing. If you say something's going well, it usually gonna end up sucking immediately. Yeah, it's a weird thing with the head. Yeah. Nice to meet you, Arturs. Thank you. Hey, I want to break the news to you. You're a lifetime member of ZenBitchslap.com. Arturs, yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, I think we're gonna, is that it? All right, Judy Lovins, you did a great job today.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you.
That's cool.
Kathleen and Jules on vocals
Oh,
helped.
Kathleen and Jules. Oh, great.
Yeah.
Oh, what? Oh, they helped you today?
There were like 5 bombers, so yes,
Oh, wow. Yeah, I could hear a little bit of that. That's fine. Eh?
yes.
Hey, Chris H. Always a pleasure, Chris. Marl. Hey, Kerry, I missed the video of your place. We'll have to do it again on Tuesday.
What
or
you
so.
talking about, Paul? I showed you one time.
No, but I just saw you showing it earlier.
Oh, before the meeting. Yes, yes. No, I got
We want
furniture.
to do
Paul.
it. We want to do it with the group. So we
Paul,
can,
I got a couch.
you got a couch. Good.
And now I need drapes, man. It keeps
That's
going.
right.
Then I need a rug, and then I need I don't know.
That's how it rolls. Yes. I'm so sure that's going to happen. I now sell rugs and shit to match the couch. So we're making money on these little mechanical deficiencies. Yeah. Vlad, Portugal, as always. I can't see you well. 2 things are blocking you. But Keith, G, nice to see you. Wabi Bukowski. Did I get it right? Bukowski. All right. Roman Mueller. Mike C. Nice to see you, Mike. How are you, bro? We're gonna be back east, Mike, but we're not gonna be up in Massachusetts. We're gonna be down in Dover and around there. But
Okay, sounds
there-
good.
We'll be there in April, end of April. Jamie and Barbara, thanks, Jamie. Thanks for sharing. Yes. Albert Roth. Nice to see you, Albert. Have I met you before? Well, nice to meet you. James Parker. I've met James before. Hiram, yes. Rick Rowe. Algirdas. Yes, pretty good. Yeah. Zoe Bank. Algirdas. All right, that's good. Algirdas. Zoe.
Just Al.
Oh, just Al. All right. Zoe Banks. Our missionary in Japan. Yes. Yeah. Mika in Finland. We got Ben. Nice to see Ben there. Susan Harris. Hey, thank you for all the benefactors of Zen Bitch Lab. It's very appreciated. Martin. Martin is the captain of the SS Zen Bitch Lab. He's driving quite well. Very nice. Thank you, Martin, for all the service. Maggie, thank you for your share. And yeah. Matt J. Always a pleasure. I met Matt over in Italy. Very nice spending time with him. Arturs, there he is. Nice to see you, Arturs. Erin in North Carolina. Nice to see you, Erin. Rob Helma up in British Columbia, formerly of Toronto. Graham, there they are. Oh, and Graham's lovely, yes. I would say significantly better half. Yeah, that's okay. You're still in India? Yeah? Still in India?
We're in Spain.
Oh, Spain. All right. Great. Oh, India, Spain. Oh, really? That's pretty nice. Roman Mueller, our main man in Germany. Zoe, I can't get to the second page. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you soon. Yeah? Yeah.
Thanks,
All right.
Paul.
Oh, you're
Thanks,
welcome.
Paul. Thanks,
Paul.
Judy.
Thanks, Judy.
Thank you,
Thanks, everyone.
everyone. Yeah.